Hi there, and welcome to this day in history for April 25th. April 25th is the 115th day of the year in the Gregorian calendar, 116th in leap years, with 250 days remaining to the end of the year. Today's word is avant-garde. Avant-garde may be a noun or an adjective. Lifted directly from the French, where it literally meant advance guard, the term was originally used in more of a military meaning. As time passed and language evolved, the term avant-garde came to be used in the arts to refer to those who were at the forefront of innovation, frequently breaking traditional norms and opening the door for new artistic movements. And while discussion of the term avant-garde often dwells on artistic innovation, I wouldn't limit it to only art and style. For instance, I have known and am currently aware of really smart people who had and have different ideas about their field of study. Such innovations may fly in the face of establishment thinking, and such people may become pariahs in their field of study. Here are a couple of examples. Galileo, from the 15 and 1600s, he formed some different ideas based entirely on observation about the Earth, Sun, and planetary movement. He got in a lot of trouble for his ideas, which, by the way, turned out to be correct. He was definitely an avant-garde astronomer. We've talked about Galileo before. I also know of a particular ophthalmologist who had some different ideas about something as mundane as cataract surgery. He faced criticism and implied threats of censure for his ideas and the methods and techniques that he helped develop and further. That dear old doc has gone on to the great surgical suite in the sky now, but he recognized that the old ways could and should be improved upon, and he did so in the face of opposition. Nobody does cataract surgery the old way anymore. Now, granted, he wasn't the only one, but he was the one I personally knew, and I can tell you that the methods, techniques, and materials that are in use today for cataract surgery exist because, at least in part, of this avant-garde ophthalmologist. Beyond that, you can think of such cultural game changers as Virginia Woolf's stream of consciousness technique in literature. It was avant-garde for its time and fundamentally changed the way narrative was approached in modern novels, or Igor Stravinsky's work, The Rite of Spring, which was so avant-garde that its first performance in 1913 caused a riot among the audience due to its radical structure and dissonance. Avant-garde artists, creators, and scientists definitely color outside the lines, and you can be sure that I could certainly think of other examples, but we don't have all day to talk about this. So hopefully you get my point. Avant-garde is a term we use to refer to pioneers or innovators of a given period, genre, or school of thought. As I mentioned, it came from French. First known use as a noun is in the 1500s, as an adjective as recently as 100 years ago in the 1920s. Avant-garde. I always love it when I can pick a word of the day from something I'm going to talk about that day, but that doesn't always quite happen. So if you have a word you'd like to see us examine in this Word of the Day segment, drop it in the comments. We'll take a look at it. And with that, this is the 50th anniversary of Portugal's Carnation Revolution, April 25th, 1974. This was a pivotal moment in Portuguese history, marking the transition from authoritarian rule to democracy, and also leading to the decolonizing of Portugal's African and Asian territories. Such events are never easy or quick, and this one began as a military coup by a group of military officers who were opposed to the regime that was then current, known as the Estado Novo regime. Once this coup began, the movement quickly gained popular support, as people had had about a hatful of authoritarian rule, suppression of political opposition, and the difficulty and expense of maintaining or attempting to maintain those aforementioned African and Asian territories, particularly the Portuguese African territories, with whom Portugal was entrenched in colonial wars since about 1961. There was widespread dissent with both the military and the general public over these colonial wars alone, Add to that dissatisfaction over lack of political and economic reforms, and Portugal was quite the pressure cooker. So, the military launched the coup on April 25, 1974. Civilians flooded the streets in massive popular support, interacted with military rebels, and placed carnations in the barrels of their guns, giving this revolution its name. Remarkably, the revolution was nearly bloodless, with minimal conflict and resistance from regime forces. The fall of the Estado Novo led to the swift decolonization of the Portuguese territories in Africa and Asia, and by the end of the year, 1974, independence was granted to Guinea-Bissau, followed by Mozambique, Cape Verde, São Tomé and Príncipe, then Angola and East Timor the following year in 1975. This rapid decolonization brought many Portuguese citizens back home from these territories. The country had its work cut out for it and set about to make the transition to democracy. It took a while and there were a lot of adjustments to make, but the Carnation Revolution was a defining moment in Portuguese history. April 25th is commemorated each year as Freedom Day, celebrating Portugal's liberation from authoritarian rule and its journey into democracy. As much as the Carnation Revolution means to the Portuguese people every day, these 50 years later, it's also a remarkable example of a largely peaceful transition from authoritarianism to democracy, with enduring effects to the nation's political and social fabric. The Carnation Revolution. I just want to take a moment here to say that one of my YouTube viewers asked me a while back to talk about the Carnation Revolution, and I committed to do so, wrote it in my little book. So thank you, Sun E Bites. Last year, we talked about the word precarious, World Malaria Day, and the song ABC by Jackson 5, and I'll leave a link for you if you'd like to check that out. Today's song is Birdhouse in Your Soul by They Might Be Giants. Written by John Flansburgh and John Linnell, Birdhouse in Your Soul appears on their album Flood and was released as a single in 1990 and is their highest charting single and best-known song. Told from the perspective of a nightlight shaped like a canary, Birdhouse in Your Soul gives us a quirky look at such things as Jason and the Argonauts and the Longines Symphonette. My Avant-Garde daughter introduced me to this song, its artists, and several more of their records. In appreciation, I have Birdhouse in Your Soul as her ringtone on my phone. A fun, quirky little song, Birdhouse in Your Soul by They Might Be Giants. Link in the description. Alrighty, thank you so much for watching. Consider subscribing if you haven't already. Feel free to share this video with a link in your email, messaging, or social media. If you enjoy this series, you can check out the playlist that contains these videos. I'll put a link to that in the description. That description lives on YouTube, so for other platforms, I'll include a link to my blog page that's called No Really. You can also find me on Rumble, BitChute, and Odyssey. All those links in that description. Alrighty, that's all I can think of right now. Thanks again, and I'll see you next time. This is the birthday.
I didn't get that. Could you try again?
I wasn't talking to you. And from the Life is What Happens When You Make Other Plans department, more than on... Did you really? Okay, hold on. I forgot to tell it do not disturb. Okay, we're going to do that one again. Oh, where's your microphone? Oh, get your microphone. What is it with you and this microphone? Okay, here we go. You're here with me live this morning as I stumble through. I thought I was ready to go, and my apologies for the hiccups and the baubles. See, that's all stuff that gets edited out in the edited versions. We'll have a lot to edit today. Cacophony is a sound. Oh, cacophony is a noun that you got to read it the right way. Don't alienate people who can be helpful to you. Flinging happiness all over the place. Alrighty, back to work. I think we got it this time.